Hello, shalom, peace be with you. I'm channeling Carmen Miranda right now, if you know who that is, if you watch old movies. Actually, I got this dress. I had two people donate to my garage sale, and what was neat is that they donated things I didn't have, like baby boy clothes. I had a ton of baby girl clothes, but no baby boy clothes, and one of my friends donated a couple of outfits, and she basically donated to my closet, so woohoo! Yesterday, after I was done with my live about my garage sale, about God asking me to do something and doing the do, I realized that I didn't talk about anything that I had it in my head to talk about. There were so many touching things that I experienced in doing this garage sale to raise money for the foundation that I literally cried for 2 days straight. And in my exhaustion, after I had the roughest day of carrying tons and tons of stuff up from my basement, you know, through the stairs and lifting all these heavy things, I was so exhausted, and my little 3-year-old woke me up at 4 a.m. The next morning, and my first thought was, why, God? And then I remembered that I'm trying not to say that I'm trying to say, what can I learn in this situation? And what I felt every time that I thought about being tired was, how did these little kids, how tired were they while they were doing chemotherapy, right? So anything I was experiencing was nothing compared to what the kids that when they have cancer, all the stuff they go through and how tired they are and how tired the parents are emotionally and physically, like I was. And so every time I thought about my own tiredness, it just led me to pray for families that are experiencing these things. So I guess I did a lot of the hard labor on the Wednesday of carrying it all up. And then the Thursday, I was going to need to organize and get ready for the garage sale, which was on Friday. Well, I had previously told a friend that I would be, overjoyed to watch her little boys while she had her doctor appointment. She's now 38 weeks pregnant. So I had told her to, come over, drop the boys off, and I would keep an eye on them. And that was all before I had decided to do this huge undertaking of this garage sale. But I didn't want to let her know, I didn't want to tell her that I had a lot to do that day, because that would kind of put something on her that's not her deal. And so it was a great thing for me to give it to God and go, okay, I'm just going to enjoy this time I have with these little guys. And I'm going to put off the work I need to do. And so it went really well. We had a great time playing, and then near the end we kind of went out to play outside, and I was in the garage and I kind of started working on things. And when their mom came to pick them up, I said, hey, you're having a baby girl. How much stuff do you have? Because please take some of this baby girl stuff, and that'll really help me. And so, there she was, 38 weeks pregnant, and she tried to go through some stuff, and there's just so much that most people were overwhelmed at the amount of stuff that I had, amount of baby things I had, collected in the 8 years of being a mom. But so she found some stuff and put it in a bag, and she was so gracious about me watching, her boys, and she was so excited to take some girl things, and she knew what the foundation was, and she has watched the Lizzie's Walk of Faith Foundation and knows about it and knows the good. And so she said, can I please write a check to donate to the foundation for the baby clothes I'm taking? And I was like, oh, okay, and she wrote $100 check, and that just really hit me, because I was nervous at that point about making $200. It wasn't until later that night that I was offered $600 to not do it. So at the time, I just had a $200 goal to beat of other people and their garage sales, because other people would say that they'd only made $200 in a garage sale. So I was like, oh, well, geez, I at least want to make that. So it just so overwhelmed me that before I've even started my sale, I've already made half of what I want to make. And I had already invited another friend over she helps watch her 3 little granddaughters that are just precious. And I had already invited her over to go through, have first dibs and first look, at all my stuff. And I didn't tell her about my friend or anything. And after she'd picked out some stuff, she gave me $100 cash. So I already had $200 before my sale had even started. And I just felt like that was God helping me, right? He was just saying, hey, you're doing you're doing the thing I've asked you to do, and it's gonna be okay. So I kept asking God, though, to help me because I was overwhelmed. And I kept feeling like he was like, well, you need to ask somebody. I can't do all the legwork. So I actually had to reach out and ask different people if they could help me. And that was hard to do. I grew up in a family of very strong women where if you wanted to get something done, you did it. If the grass was long, you went out and mowed it. If you wanted that picture hung, you hung the picture. You didn't necessarily ask other people to do things for you. To this day, one of my sisters struggles terribly with asking for help when she really needs help. So I reached out to a friend of mine, and even though she has 3 kids of her own, she came over and sacrificed her time to help me kind of organize for it, and that was such a blessing. I was like a crybaby mess thanking her after she left. And so during the sale, the very end, there was still tons of stuff left, and my husband, when he had said that, when we talked about the garage sale, he was like, the deal is anything that goes in the garage doesn't come back in the house at the end of the sale. It all has to go. It all has to be donated. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. I'm up for that, right? Well, so at the very end, we're looking at all this stuff and he's like, so where's this going? Where are we donating it? I'm just going to take it to Goodwill and drop it off. And I'm like, no, Goodwill isn't Goodwill. Goodwill is just a corporation that makes money. It's not it's not a non-profit. It doesn't go to charity. You should really don't look to who you're donating to. And so I called some different. City of Refuge is a local one that's great. And Love Seat is great. I tried to contact both of them and neither of them one didn't answer and one was really specific. It only was accepting a few kinds of items. And so I was literally almost to the point of tears. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I don't want to fight with my husband about where this stuff needs to go. And this lady shows up at the very end. And she said that she had 4 granddaughters. And I looked at her and I said, ma'am, would you like all of it? And she's like, all of it? I'm like, all of it. For free. I'll put it in your car right now. I loaded bag upon bag upon bag in this woman's car of toys, books, clothes, you name it. And she was thankful. And she said, I know lots of people. If it doesn't work for my granddaughters, I know lots of people who I can give these things to. So she felt like I was blessing her, but she had no idea how much she was blessing me because I was totally at a point of, I don't know what to do, and asked God for help. And he sends this woman, he signed her up, even though she didn't know it, he signed her up to bless me tremendously. Because after we became friends on Facebook, and when I clicked on her profile, it said she's a pediatric nurse. So I was like, oh, I bet she does know lots of people who all these baby clothes can go to. So once again, it's all about asking. Ask God, but also ask other people. I mean, you can't be... pride holds us back sometimes for asking for help. I know I was nervous about asking people if they wanted to donate. I was totally nervous, but I did it. And sometimes God asks us to do things like my garage sale, but it's all for our good. It's all for His good and His glory. And don't be afraid to ask. So some of the scriptures that I like about asking are in 1 Samuel 17. Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him. Right? He hooked me up with that lady taking all my stuff. But I thought this was interesting. This is something that God asks of us in Deuteronomy 10:12. And now, O Israel, what does the Lord your God ask of you? but to fear the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, to love him, to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, and to observe the Lord's commands and decrees that I am giving you today for your own good. So that's the reality, is God only asks us things for our own good. Following his decrees, following his words, loving him, walking in his ways, all of those things are for our good. They bless us. So Lord, help us to ask you for the things that are for our good. Help us to learn to be obedient and to walk in your ways. Help us to ask others if they need help and to lend a helping hand where it's necessary. But in all things, Lord, help us to do the do you've asked us to do and help us in it, Lord. In your name we ask and pray. Amen. I can't stop.